Good day, YouTube. Today I want to talk about the topic of how long will I stay in the Air Force? When will my time in the Air Force end? Right now I have 20 years of service. 12 of those are active duty as of this month, 8 years reserve. So I have 20 years. Technically, I can say tomorrow when I go to work, I want to drop my retirement paperwork and call it the day, retire. However, as a reservist, I won't get my pension till I am 60 years old. That's the norm. Right now I'm on an AGR tour, 3 years, so I'm active duty. It's kind of confusing, but I can tell you this. I'm here at my current base for 3 years. I just finished my first year. In 2 years, once this tour ends, I could go back to my civilian job. However, here's the thing. I'm going to apply for something called career status for an AGR. In my current position, if I get granted career status, that means I get to finish up my 20 years of active duty time, and then I'll get my pension right away when I retire. Or the Air Force could come back in 1 year when I meet that board and say, we're not going to grant you career status. We'll give you an extension for 1 or 2 years. And then after that, you have to go back to being a TR, traditional reservist, or an IMA, which is individual mobilized augmentee. I've been both of those as well in the past. Let me give you a little bit of history. I entered active duty in 1996. I was enlisted for almost 6 years, and then I separated to do ROTC, lost my time as far as it didn't continue active duty time until I came back on active duty when I commissioned. So I had almost 10 years of active duty time, and then the Air Force had a reduction in force, so I had to leave active duty. The Air Force Reserve welcomed me and said, bring your experience and come work for us, and that's exactly what I did. So I've been a reservist now for 10 years. Time flies by. I can't believe that. And props to the Air Force Reserve for saying, hey, come on and work with us, because they allowed me to continue serving in the military. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about is the options that I have. It feels good to say, hey, I'm at 20 years, even if I don't get my pension until I'm 60, then I can drop my paperwork. That's something I've never been able to do before. But there are many things that I haven't done in the Air Force yet that I still want to do. For example, I still want to deploy. I volunteered when I was enlisted, officer, active duty, reserve. Never happened. Close, but no cigar. I also want to work overseas, preferably in Europe, with a NATO environment. In other words, working with other nations, because I love languages where I can speak that language with others. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm okay with that. And those are two things that I'd love to do. Now, another thing is camaraderie. In the Air Force and in the military in general, I'm going to assume that it's the same for other branches as well. Camaraderie is something that is like a brotherhood and sisterhood, where we as individuals, Air Force in this case, members, work together to get the job done. It's never a perfect team, but it's a great team that I love to work with. One of the things that I was thinking about as I was driving to my roommate's place is this. How many people out there love the Air Force more than I do? That's a good question. I'll never know that, but I can tell you that I love what I do in the Air Force as far as putting on that uniform, doing whatever the Air Force needs me to do. I work personnel, so a lot of it is indoors, but I've also been a firefighter in the past. That was a good experience as well. I just love the team that we have, what we stand for, what we do, and wherever we do it, whether it's here or in harm's way, which is why I want to deploy, because I've never had that opportunity. Not necessarily saying that I want to be out in harm's way, but I've been trained to do a job, and I know I can do it whether it's here or there, wherever. So those are some of the things to consider. Now, if the Air Force comes back and says, in 1 year, you have to leave, then what's the future looking like for me as far as the Air Force? Because remember, I can retire anytime that I want at this point. I've been a TR, traditional reservist, and that's your weekend drill, plus your 2 weeks. I've also been an IMA, where you do 12 days of IDT. Forgot what that stands for. If you know what that stands for, let me know. If not, I can look it up. And your 2-week tour. But with an IMA, you don't have to do it at a close base. In other words, the base that's just down the street. You can do it on the West Coast, on the East Coast. You could do that overseas as well. So that's what I'm going to look into if the Air Force says you have to leave after your AGR tour is over. But I'd prefer to do my AGR time and at least get my 20 years of active. If not, it's okay. I would also consider a TR job, traditional reservist. Done that as well. And that's where you commit your 1 week in a month plus your 2-week tour. Now, as a reservist, here is some good information on that. It's the best part-time job I've ever had. I think it's a great opportunity. You get to travel, you get to serve, you get to work with the team and grow and lead. But as a reservist, whether you're a TR or IMA, here's another thing to think about, is you can find a unit, let's just say it's in Wyoming or Montana or wherever you want, and you can ask them, hey, if I work for you for 3 months or for a project, are you willing to put me on orders? And the Air Force is about networking. So you can put a pause on your job, your civilian job, if you have one, or if you don't, you can go on orders for 3 months, 6 months, or even up to a year, maybe longer. My point is this, there's opportunities for you to continue to build your points. As a reservist, that's what you have to do. For active duty, you have to have 20 years of time for that pension. And I think it's like 7,300 points, 1 point per day. As a reservist, you can do your time that you're supposed to, but you can do additional time if you want. So I'm going to find out in 1 year exactly if I'm going to execute plan A, plan B, or plan C. I have a lot of plans and a lot of visions, and I told my wife, let's put a holding pattern on what we do. Our daughter's going off to school in 1 month. Our house is almost paid off. Instead of moving to the south or here in another house, let's put that on hold for 1 year, see what happens, because as a civilian, as a federal employee, because I can always have that option as well, I can go to Europe for 3 years, work for the Air Force, and then get return rights. So we'll find out what happens in 1 year. I'll keep you posted. In the meantime, I'm going to make the most of my day, my week, my month, my Air Force career, just like I've had. And I'm going to end with this. I've had a lot of great jobs. In the Air Force, I've been blessed to do personnel, squadron section commander, equal opportunity, services, a tour at Headquarters Air Reserve Personnel Center right now where I'm working. And I've asked a lot of people in the past, how long do you want to stay? And they're like, if I'm still having fun, I'm going to continue to work for the Air Force in uniform. If I'm not, I'm going to retire. And basically, that's what it boils down for me as well. If I'm still having fun, which I am, I'm going to continue. If not, I'm going to tap out, retire, and work on other things. What do I want to do post-military, post-federal job is teach. I actually want to teach either at a community college, or university. I have time to do research to see what requirements it takes, what experience it takes, and make that happen. In the meantime, my Air Force career has been a great experience, a great journey, and I'm thankful for it because I've definitely maximized, in my opinion, my career, my time, my education, the places I've been to. I've seen presidents speak, I've seen the vice president speak. I've met great people, former brothers and sisters in arms from the past, the present, and in the future. I hope you're doing the same as well with your career. Have a great day. Take care.